Hey guys, welcome to our review of the PSVR 2. Yes, a video 6 years in the making. We've switched positions as well as the shot's gotten wider at a new place. And here we are 6 years later with Gen 2 of the PlayStation VR experience. We reviewed previously the PSVR 1 in a hardware review and then a launch lineup. We're going to do two videos. We're going to do the same thing for the PSVR 2. Now, I rewatched that video. I actually highly recommend you rewatch that video. We were excited. It was fun. You get to see all the titles compared to the titles this time. And I will say some of the novelty of VR has kind of worn off for me.
It has. Same with me, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's. I still love VR. I'm still somewhat just fascinated by it. But I'm far more convinced, and I even said this in the first video, that it is right now still best for car racing,
Horror games.
Yep. Space fighter experiences, stuff like that. And the big titles still are a little bit lacking. But we'll get to that. So first off, we got to talk about Gen 2, right? 6 years later, how do you think Sony has done with the headset?
Better.
Way better.
Better.
When you compare, right, here's a single case. This alone, we were going to say better, right? A single USB-C connection versus
5 steps.
Yeah, that's a little
steps.
number 5 on here. It says, like, fuck that. That rat's nest was so fucking annoying. And even at the time, this technology was outdated. This technology was 6 years old, these PlayStation Move controllers, when the PSVR 1 came out. So this is 12 years old now. So it was really insufficient. You would turn around from the screen, you would lose hand tracking. That does not happen this time around. So when you actually look from headset to headset, you're actually quite blown away by the improvements that Sony has made. However, because I am somewhat of a VR enthusiast, not so much enthusiast, but like I'm interested in the industry and I like VR, when this headset came out, we were talking about 3 headsets. It was the PSVR, it was the Oculus Rift, and the
Index.
HTC Vive.
The HTC Vive.
That like rat's nest on your head with the big strap. And
it was too top heavy. It was like kind of
very top heavy. So those were your 3 choices then, and we actually recommended if you wanted to get into VR, you would go with this one. This was the winner. These days, this headset right now is actually in a unique position because it's kind of out first amongst the 2023 headsets because there's 2023. Supposedly, we're going to get the Meta Quest 3 this year, sometime later, and potentially the Apple VR headset sometime later. But if I were to put this up against, a headset now, of the 3, this would be the PSVR 2 versus the Valve Index, which we own. That super expensive, super enthusiast one with outside-in tracking, and the Meta Quest 2, which I also own, but right now is being used. So those are the headsets that this has to go up in. So right away, what did we talk about before? First off, price. How much was this when it came out, yo?
I think it was like almost $500.
400. Yes, 400, 500 in a bundle that comes with the controllers, the headset, and some games. Now we went up to a price of
$5.99 if you get the bundle.
$600. So like, $100 to $200 more, and that's if you get the bundle, which includes Horizon. It does not include a charging station. I think I bought this headset stand separately. It does not include the headset stand either. But it is a more expensive headset. If they had kept it at the same price, then I would be super impressed. That's not the case here. Instead, and there's no demo disc included in the box this time. I liked having And this is a shame, man. 6 years later, we're losing what I love about gaming, all these boxes
Physical
and
copy,
shit.
yeah.
We went to GameStop, and they had no physical boxes of any of the PSVR 2 games. They actually told me in this game, this is why I don't go to GameStop anymore. He's like, yeah, Song of In the Smoke is not out yet. You know, the survival one? I'm like, yes, it is. We just played it. He's like, no, it comes out in May. I was like, all right. And because he's looking at his system, I guess the physical version of the disc can come out in May. It's just so there's no box. We don't have any boxes for you to show. It's all digital. You download it if you want it right now. And actually, you can't even get the PSVR 2 in GameStop either, the hardware. You actually have to buy it directly from PlayStation. So it's a whole brand new world. It feels even, this was already niche. This is even more niche of a niche. You know, I guess GameStop doesn't want to bother with this. Maybe they didn't sell a bunch. I don't know. Back in the day. So there's no demo disc. Demos are all digital. Just, Joe, if you could talk a little bit about the comparisons in the headsets.
The big difference for me is the adjustments here.
Yeah.
Before, you used to have to move this back and forth. Now you got a little knob.
Yeah,
I like that knob.
They've added, one of our big criticisms before was that, yeah, what do you do for the adjustment here? It just comes back and forth.
Yeah.
Here you've got a knob that the lenses can go apart for aperture. You could also have a focus button. There's actually inside, or this time, you can actually see pass-through. Now, it's black and white pass-through, and I love pass-through. It's freaking amazing. You didn't have that on this one. And that's about all you could do on that. And the power button's like way over there or something like this. This one is way, way better for that. Not only is the technology much better, we're talking about a huge upgrade. Basically, OLED screens, 2000 by 2040 OLED, 110 degrees field of view, which is much improved from the field of view there. So technology-wise, the PlayStation VR 2 is much, much better.
And obviously, the other biggest difference is you don't need the camera. Because this one was traced.
Yeah, I think I lost the fucking camera.
Yeah,
There's supposed to be a camera here. It's
yeah. This one has the built-in stuff, so you could do like a full turn and still be in gameplay.
Inside-out tracking. And that's all these cameras that you're seeing on the front. You actually don't need to drill holes in your wall, which I've always hated. And so that's what this one has. In fact, not only that, it even has eye tracking, which not a lot of other VR headsets have. So it almost makes it kind of a leader in that particular category. Not a lot of games that use it right now. Call of the Mountain uses it. I think one or two others use it, but we'll see if that actually, ends up being there. So the hand tracking. Much, much better. These controllers are a huge improvement over those controllers. Yes. Are they perfect? No. I actually prefer, way back in the day, 6 years ago, I still prefer the Oculus Rift controllers. The MetaQuest 2 controllers, I think, are still better than this, mainly because of these big old rings. It's awkward to get into. This strap is way up here. It just feels wrong. It needs to be down here. So when it's holding on, you feel like it's very, very loose. Another thing is if you have big hands, if you're a big guy, this isn't going to work for you, man. Your thumb is going to constantly be slamming against this, and it's going to be really annoying. Why they decided to put the tracking bands over here instead of like up here or something, I don't know. Another disappointment, they do have the finger sensitivity. So it knows when you rest your fingers, which is really cool in like Pavlov VR because you can show trigger discipline in VR and stuff. But no middle finger. No middle finger dragging, so you're not able to.
Everyone wants to do that.
Yeah, you have to do that in VR. So while the controllers here are a massive improvement from these pieces of shit that really shouldn't have even been relying on this technology, massive improvement from that, don't really like them in comparison to their competitor controllers and what's on the market now. And what else is a huge disadvantage with these controllers, Joe?
The battery life.
Yep. Battery life is the fucking worst, guys.
I think we had it fully charged, and we only had a couple hours.
We
like
got
an hour
maybe,
or so.
it says it's supposed to be 3 to 5 hours. That is a lie. It would drain in probably about 2 hours for us, and then it would give us these notifications that we found extremely, extremely annoying. Maybe 3 to 4 hours max if you're playing like a non-intensive game or something like that, but that was really fucking annoying. But the lens specs, like I said, is just so much better with the OLED. Now, here's the thing. With eye tracking, not only are the graphics better and the games have taken a huge leap in graphical fidelity, but it also takes advantage of foveated rendering. What's foveated rendering, Joe?
Tell me.
It's so, you know, eye tracking, since it tracks your eyes, it will really render what is only your eyes are looking at, and then your peripheral vision doesn't get rendered quite as much. That way it can pack all the power into what you're looking at, and so that helps the performance of the headset. Like I said, the headset is much, much improved, and with the single setup is so freaking easy.
Plug in, update the software, bam, you're ready to go in a minute.
What about that setup process? Did you like it? I thought it was really cool.
Super
really
easy, yeah. Like this thing, I don't understand how we gave it a good score back in the day. But this is obviously still the fucking
well, here's
Gen
the thing.
1.
This was Gen 1, so we were willing to accept a lot of the drawbacks. Here's the issue. While this is a lot better, so is VR technology in general. So you have to kind of grade it on a curve now. But the setup process is wonderful. The step-by-step screen guides guide you through it really cool. They've got this cool, like, scan room technology.
You can even draw.
You can draw your space, delete your space. I loved that. At any moment, you press this button and you can see your surroundings. The problem is, and I don't know if this is a thing, but there's a notification right in your forward view that it's like, you know, it gives you an important message. It's like, get that out of the way. I need to see stuff. I don't know if in an update you can get rid of it or if I'm just not seeing the button to get rid of that. But I've never gotten it out of my way. But how about comfort?
I think they didn't improve much for comfort. They kind of feel the same.
Basically,
I'm still not a big
thing.
fan of the rubber right here.
Yeah, this rubber grommet is so light and thin. And here's the thing. We never really did we have problems with this? We felt that this was actually the most comfortable of the headsets way back in the day. But again, headsets have gotten even more comfortable. And I think that they're both relatively cheap feeling for the $600 that you're going to end up paying. But for some reason on this one, you have to be real careful about not letting the headset rest on your nose, because that actually was hurting me. It was uncomfortable.
I actually got a line.
And over time, Joe actually got a line on his, you know, so we'll show that off. So for whatever reason, we felt like this headset was less comfortable than this, but then when you actually try them next, it's kind of the same. So
as far as that, not much improvement, in my opinion.
Another thing that they've done here is they've integrated the little crappy earbuds that you get here. They come in a bag, and then you just kind of upgrade on your own with a big headset. Here, it plugs right into the back with this U-shaped adapter, and then they can just kind of hang down, and you can even store them here. I think this is cool. You kind of like store them. And so this... It's there, but it is unacceptable in 2023. The sound quality is awful through these. You're not really going to get fully immersed. I want everything running on 110%. They do sell separate headset, wireless headset, so that's going to jack the price up even more with that. Another $99 for good headset audio on top of your $599. So now you're at $700 if you want worthwhile audio, and then it's $50 if you want the official charging stations. So you're looking at $750 when all said and done for the PS VR. But in terms of graphics, how did you think of this?
Far superior.
Far.
Like whenever I was playing, I'll go more in depth with Call of the Mountain. It looked beautiful in the beginning. You could see like the river was crystal clear. Looking around, it was far superior than this one.
I loved it, and like I said, there's not a lot of screen door effect. The pixels per degree seems to have increased, at least by our eyes. 110 field of view is much better, so you can kind of immerse yourself. The problem, though, is that we found is that this has an even tighter sweet spot than this. So it's like you're fumbling, you're pressing all the buttons and trying to adjust to find that sweet spot. And I haven't really had that experience with a lot of other headsets where you kind of adjust it once and you're kind of done. This one feels like a constant battle over time to find that sweet spot because it's very, very sensitive and low. One thing that I'm actually finding is it has some chromatic aberration. Now, chromatic aberration is when you notice that the edges of objects kind of have a rainbow effect, like a red, blue, green kind of look to them on the edges. For whatever reason, it's been really bad for me. And along with some kind of smoky look in between me and the game.
Like some kind of filter or something?
There's like a filter. I guess I don't want to call it screen door because that's a separate one. This is something different. I had to look it up. I'll put the term on the screen now. And it's really, and I hear it's a side effect of the particular OLEDs that they used here. Now, you may not have noticed it, but so unless you're not looking for it, or unless you've tried a lot of VR headsets like I have, you're probably not going to notice it. But once you notice it, it never goes away, and it sucks, especially in very bright situations or in contrasty situations. I can, not very bright, but more bright with some contrast, I can see this kind of effect in between me and the game. So while it is definitely beautiful, I will still take those two, chromatic aberration and this little OLED side effect, over this piece of shit. This is literally fucking junk now. I mean, we might as well throw this shit out because GameStop doesn't want it. How much would GameStop give us for this?
A bag of Skittles.
I think even less than a bag of Skittles. He'd pick out Skittles, dump it on the fucking counter, and probably push over 3 Skittles to us. Oh, man. But yeah, as far as the headset goes, it is a generational leap. And but the VR thing, like I said, has it really lives or dies by the video games.
Exactly. That's what I was going to talk about next. Unfortunately, I didn't think there was a strong lineup.
Right.
And I feel like for spending $600 just about, it's just not there right now.
It's not there, yeah. And this was a huge problem when this thing came out. I actually, for whatever reason, I felt like the launch lineup is stronger. When this came out, there was more variety of titles. They were more excited. A lot of more companies were pushing their titles. But actually, if you look at the individual titles, they're better here. I will make that admission. But it's only because of a lot of free upgrades, right? Gran Turismo 7, it's free. If you already have it, you get the VR version. Resident Evil Village, it came out a long time ago, but there's a free update for the VR version. Those are really what's going on. And then Call of the Mountain, which is their system seller, we have a lot to say on that game. Okay? It is not a system seller. It's in fact one of the worst ones in our opinion. So don't think that they call, and we'll talk about that in our separate launch lineup video. But what we're saying is overall, this major problem that even Meta in Facebook is finding is user retention, having this thing not become a fucking paperweight in a year. It did. We had to find this thing. It was like fucking collecting
dusty.
dust. I think after we filmed that video, we maybe played it maybe 3 or 4 other times.
Yeah, because I think the other one we played was Star Trek. Right?
Yeah. It's, Star Trek Bridge Crew, which was fucking amazing. So there, every once in a while, there's a hit title. But, okay, so it's 3 or 4 times besides all the times that we played Star Trek Bridge Crew. If not for Bridge Crew, then this thing would have been not worth it in the end because we barely used it, barely played it. It became a paperweight. And that's what I'm worried that this thing will become over time. It's new, it's hot, and you know, somebody subscribed to our channel right there, and it fired off the notification, so I had to stop. But, yeah, so anyways, that's that. The games is the major problem. So honestly, we were kind of down on VR when we were playing on this. We were like, this is not worth it. At least me, because I'm the one that shelled out $600 for it this time. I was already kind of suspect after doing it, you know, 500 here. And now doing it again, I regret it. I wish that I would have waited. So while we think that it is a massive leap, generational leap from this system to this system, and I want to commend Sony for doing a good job. I have to mention that among its peers, it's still, you know, this time it's more average, right? It's on par. It has a few things that they don't like, eye tracking and some great screens and things like that, but it has its own problems, and so you have to factor that in. So especially when you consider we don't yet know the full specs for the MetaQuest 3 and the Apple VR, which this is going up against.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah. What else? What else could we say? I think
we pretty much covered a lot of it. The setup, the better graphics, the controllers, the triggers. It still has a PlayStation that
right.
feed.
Let's talk about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's real nice with the guns. Obviously, it's got the little pressure thing. You could kind of sense it whenever we were playing Horizon Zero Dawn. That was pretty cool.
With bow and arrows, Pavlov, the adaptive triggers. It even has a rumble feature on the headset itself, which is really fun. But sometimes games don't take advantage of it. When you think the headset should be rumbling, it doesn't. So you have to kind of know that third parties are not actually going to take advantage sometimes of these features. But it's a nice thing to have. It makes the headset feel a little more premium and less cheap and more immersive than what it is now. But yeah, so overall, we like the headset. We commend Sony on the upgrade. This thing is a piece of shit compared to it. We might as well throw all of this away. And this is a worthy successor. Gen 2 is a worthy successor. But with the caveat that I think it's too expensive right now. I think the game lineup doesn't necessarily justify it unless you are a VR enthusiast.
Exactly.
And if you're already a VR enthusiast, then you probably already have this but because this review is a little late, we had a lot of other things to take care of. But what I'm basically saying is that everybody else out there, do not worry. You're not missing a whole lot by not buying into Gen 2's generation of PlayStation VR.
Yeah, for the price point, exactly. Just wait a little bit longer. Wait for some more launch titles.
Sony says there's 50 more coming, but we've already looked.
Wait for that.
Wait for that. We've already looked at it, and it's deceptive because there's really only 10 titles that are going to be worth your time, or 10 titles that you would consider.
Resident Evil.
Let me tell you those right now.
One, right?
So Resident Evil Village.
Yeah.
Call of the Mountain. These are ones we're not reviewing, and we're doing in the next video. But of these 50 titles, I looked through it, and there's only 10 that's worth mentioning. Resident Evil Village, Horizon, Gran Turismo 7, No Man's Sky. And get this. So here's the problem. Resident Evil Village, Horizon, Call of the Mountain, and Gran Turismo. That's it. The next ones that I'm about to read off are not exclusives. So you can get them on MetaQuest. You can get them on Valve. You can get them on Steam. They are, and some of them are really old. They are No Man's Sky, Creed Rise to Glory Championship Edition, Pavlov VR, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Chapter 2 Retribution. That one's I guess you would consider that one the heaviest hitter coming. Star Wars Tales of the Galaxy Edge, not exclusive. Kayak VR Mirage, not exclusive. Jurassic World Aftermath, not exclusive. So by going through all these, and there's one or two like little puzzles. There's like a tentacle octopus one and things like that.
I think we missed one, actually. Moss. Moss is another one.
Moss, yeah, again, not exclusive.
Yeah, no, I'm just throwing that out there because I hear that one's pretty
good. So top 11 that you might want to look at. There might be one or two more, but the point I'm trying to make is of these 10, only 3 of these are exclusive to the PSVR 2. The rest are older games that have been around for a while that got ported over. We do have to talk. We forgot about one huge drawback of going from this to this. You know what it is?
What is it?
Backwards compatible.
That's right. And I even
almost
told
forgot
you about
to
that
mention
too.
it.
Yeah.
Get this.
You can't play.
You can't play any of the games that we liked. So our second video 6 years ago, we were excited about a lot of these titles. We reviewed 7 titles. We reviewed Drive Club. We gave it a 6 out of 10. We reviewed PlayStation Worlds, 3 out of 10. Battlezone, 8 out of 10. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, 8 out of 10. Batman VR, 7 out of 10. Riggs, 9 out of 10.
That one was a lot of fun.
Eve Valkyrie, 7 out of 10. So we reviewed 7 of them. None of them are compatible with the PlayStation.
Which kind of sucks, because if this is like your first one you're going to buy.
You have to rebuy everything. There are a few free updates for a select few tiny list of PSVR 1 games that are given free upgrades to PSVR 2 if their developers and publishers are generous enough. But it's a small list, and it's none of these that you would think. So that is a huge, huge drawback, and something that sucks a lot. It has to do with the generational leap. So I think we pretty much covered it all. We covered the build quality. We also need to cover the build quality. Like I said, it gets the job done, but it definitely feels cheap for a $600 headset. But it's as far as technology, if you get it now, you're right. You're somewhat in the middle of the pack, maybe a little bit ahead with the eye tracking in terms of what's available, but it's solid. It really is solid, and I can say that. It's basically, whereas we said this was the easiest to get into before, that is no longer the case this time. It's just a solid headset because the easiest to get into amongst its competitors is the MetaQuest 2. You just buy a single headset. It's wireless. You don't have to deal with this part. And it's got a ton of games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that comfort one. I think that one was not too bad, right?
That one is a good comfort on its own, but then you can actually upgrade to a pro setup that makes it even more comfortable and gets a little bit of the battery pack and the weight and stuff to make it even better. And it's still cheaper. So MetaQuest 2 came out cheap, and then they raised the price on it. And now they just recently lowered the price in anticipation of MetaQuest 3 coming out sometime soon. So actually right now the MetaQuest 2 is cheaper. And so many it's a hard sell on this now when you're going up against the MetaQuest 2, which has taken the VR world by storm. In fact, they've sold so many copies or so many systems for the MetaQuest 2 that on par with the PlayStation 5. So I'll put up the numbers there.
Just gotta wait for the games.
The problem is now even Facebook and Meta we're having a problem with retention, the games. And that is the same thing with the PlayStation. So, but getting back to the hardware, let's go ahead and wrap up the video by giving it a final verdict. Joe, what's the final verdict for the hardware for the PSVR 2?
Vastly improved with the controllers. The setup was it's simple.
Yeah.
I love the the visuals look super crisp in the 4K. You super immersed compared to this thing. See, I gave this one a generous score last time.
Don't think like that, Joe. That was 6 years ago.
Okay.
And it was the ease of getting into. It was the cheapest of them. It was the easiest of them then. That's 6 years ago technology, which is light years away from where we are now. So where would you put this one? Don't even remember that.
Okay, don't even remember this one.
I'm going to
go with an 8. I'm going to go with an 8. I do like the controllers, but there's still some room for improvement on that. This just needs to be a little bit more comfortable. You need to find, like we said before, you need to find the sweet spot with it, but it looks amazing. I'm not a big fan of this rubber thing. It's not very comfortable around my eyes, and still, I wish it was wireless.
I know.
We're getting there.
But obviously, it wouldn't be PlayStation if it was wireless because it uses the power of the PS5. But I think
because we know the technology's there with Quest.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. It's hard to go back to wired after you've gone wireless. And with the Quest, you have an option to go wired or wireless, whether you want more power or whether you want the ability to go. And you can't deny that. And at this point, we are looking to take VR into the next level. When does VR hit mainstream? And I've always said that you have to basically get it the best it can be, dump the wires, and now we're talking. You know, and that's the direction.
And obviously upgrade your headphones. So that's going to be a little bit extra.
So 8 out of 10?
Yeah.
I am also giving it a final verdict of 8 out of 10. You say, wow, it's the same version of this. Like, look, bro, that's 6 years ago. This, I think, it's a solid option. And honestly, it maybe could even get a 7 or lower when you consider, when you combine the launch lineup, when you combine where it is in the market right now, when you combine the price. But I'm going to end up at an 8 out of 10 because I think they did an excellent job going from Gen 1 to Gen 2. Do you think, Joe, there will be a Gen 3?
Of course.
We were talking about. I don't think so. I think
so.
We're ending on Gen 2 because of the goddamn, it's like how much better can they make the lenses? It's just going to be an incremental upgrade. This was a magnitude upgrade. If they go to Gen 3, it's just going to be an incremental. Better lenses, better comfort.
Better controllers.
I still think incremental from the magnitude. I don't think there's going to be a Gen 3 PlayStation because they can't drop the wire. Otherwise, it's not a PlayStation. And to me, you need to drop the wire to earn that Gen 3 kind of marking, in my opinion. So the reason so I may give it an 8 out of 10. I may have given it that score, but actually my advice to you is wait and see. Save your money. Wait to see the other titles. Watch our other video. Are there enough successful games in our next launch lineup video to make it worth your purchase? You make your own determination.
Yeah, agreed.
There. But I think that you can wait.
Yeah, agreed. It's going to be with an asterisk unless you're super into VR because the price point will not justify you just buying it and playing a couple games right now and then you're going to put it down.
We're older. We're crabbier. But so are you 6 years later. And, the competitors are coming out. So it's like if you have $600 lying around, let's at least wait to see what MetaQuest 3 is going to do, what the Apple VR is going to do, though I'm against buying most Apple products. I got this, right? But I've had that for a while. It's
Gen 1.
Gen 2, I think. Anyways, guys, so that's going to be it for the hardware. We've done all of it for you, so you don't have to. We feel like you can wait on it or come hang out with us on twitch.tv. We'll do some more streaming of the VR, but not too much more.
Yeah.
All right, guys, at least until some better games come out for it. Go watch our launch lineup video where we will review each individual game that's worth it in that. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.